How much are these cards worth? I've been in the hobby for 40 years. I started as a dealer behind the table, then became a card hoarder of 8 million cards, and now I'm a pure collector who's just trying to curate a PC. And if there's one common question that I hear all the time, it's how much are my cards worth? So what I thought I would do this week is actually go through my most expensive cards in my PC and price them out with you so that you know how to value your cards. Because I see this all the time on Reddit, on X, on Facebook, where people ask the question, how much are these cards worth? And so that's what I'm going to do this week. And you're going to find out whether or not I have a collection that's worth $5,000 or $100,000. Stay tuned. This week on EDI Sports Show. Welcome back to the show, and this week I'm going to go into how you figure out what the value of your cards are by showing you the value of my collection, or at least the most expensive cards that I own, because I'm trying to curate a PC and I have too many cards, and so if I were to go through the whole thing, it probably takes several hours, and I don't think you guys want to watch that. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you here. I do a show every single week called EDI Sports Show, which is on sports and sports cards. If you like both of those topics, hit the subscribe button now. Now, let's get into what we're going to do this week. In this week's show, I'm going to go over how to value your cards, the question of the week, what is my PC worth, and your viewer comments at the very end. Do not click away. You don't want to miss the viewer comments section. Now, here are all of the cards that I pulled out of my PC. These are the most valuable cards that I have. And so what I want to do is I want to start pulling them out and actually show you how I value the cards. Now, the app that I'm going to use is called ColeX, and you're going to see why. So here we go. We're going to get started. So I'm just going to start pulling cards out, and so I'm going to show them to you. Then I'm going to use the app so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So this is the Mickey Mantle. What you do is you put the app down, you put it under the camera, and basically you just take a scan of it. And then on ColeX, it shows you what they think the value of the card is. Now, I don't exactly know where all the values are coming from, but I will tell you that it's pretty accurate. So let's do that right now. Let's take a screenshot. Here you go. And as you can see, this is what it comes up as. Well, as you can see, that didn't work out so well. This video is not sponsored by anybody. I am using the apps that everybody in the hobby can use by themselves. So what it looks like is Colex works with the most popular cards, and so some of these cards are not as popular as the others, especially some of the vintage stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to the eBay app and see what eBay can do, and I'm going to go over sort of like how I'm going to price this all out. Like, how do I actually find the value of my cards? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out 5 cards and I'm going to walk you through how I actually figure out the value, and then we'll get to segment number 2, which is what is the value of my PC at this point, all the cards that I picked out. All right, let's go to the eBay app.
So the first card we're going to look at is the 1955 Sandy Koufax rookie.
So at this point, what we want to do is we want to scroll down and see. So 255 on May 31, 651 on May 16, 1400 on May 16. Okay, so we keep seeing, let's go down, $1,000 on May 6th, 900 on May 5th, 999 on May 4th. So I think you get the idea. Okay, so here's a recap of all of those eBay comps, and so you can see from 255 all the way up to 1414 in May 16, which would give me a high-end value of $1,500. Again, that's for this card. This is the rookie card. So top value based on the sales would be $1,500. Now the low-end value would actually be $750. That's the range, but depending on the condition of this card. Now, what I would say, I looked at this under the loop. I would say this is probably a 6 or a 6.5. So again, in terms of condition, you know, it could be a 7, who knows, but I think it's around a 6 or a 6.5. This is in really good shape, as you can see from the back. This is a really nice looking card. There's no real damage. It's, again, a little bit of fading because it's an older card and it's been in a card sleeve since the 1950s. So, you know, again, in good condition. So what I would say that this card should probably go for is around $1,000. That's what I think it should go for. So there you go. Number 1 on the list for my card valuation, $1,000 right there. Let's get to the second one, and that's going to be this Christy Mathewson T206. So let's see what eBay has to say. So the second card we're going to take a look at is the T206 Christy Mathewson, and here it is. So we got to go to the sold listings. As you can see, got to hit the button. There we go. We're going to do ungraded because I haven't sent it in to SGC yet. And so the first one is 1125 right there on May 12th. The second one is 2000 on April 18, it looks like. Then the next one, let's see, next one is going to be 650 on April 3rd. And look there, we got April 1st, 750. Let's see if there are any more. Yep, 1200 on March 23rd. And that looks like that might be the last one. Nope, we got one more. March 6th, 1250. All right, so let's do a recap again. Here you go. You can see 1125, May 12, 2000, 650, 750, 1200, and 1250, which gives us a top line value of about 2200. And that means that the low end is 900. So 900 to 2200. And so that is the second card on this list now. So we've got a Koufax for 1,000, and now we also have the Christy Mathewson for 1,500. Now, before we get into the next one, I wanted to just kind of give this little recommendation that I think the hobby needs to do. One of the things about these really older cards, so most of them will come back when you get them graded. They're going to come back either an authentic, 1, 2, or 3. That's most of these cards. So when you look at these prices, especially for like a Christy Mathewson, you know, I'm looking at top line value of 2,200. But if this comes back better than a 3, then that value goes way up. And that's my point, is because nobody graded these cards when they came out.
And one of the things that I think is a big problem with the hobby is that everybody grades modern cards. I think that's a mistake for the hobby. I think no one should grade a modern card. In fact, I don't think that anyone should grade a card for the first 10 years. And the reason for that is because you're ruining the actual hobby. Now, it is what it is. You can decide to do whatever you want to do, and you have to follow the crowd. So what I think a hobby norm should be is that you don't grade cards within the first 10 years of their publication. So basically, once they get distributed, you don't grade a card in the first 10 years. And the reason for that is because then you actually get the real value of the cards. So here's a good example. This card, okay, so this is a Tom Seaver rookie card. Now, I already got one graded. I came back a 6.5, and that card was then worth around $2,000. I sold it and got a really good deal on it. I got cash and other cards equaling around $1,800 in value. So it was worth $2,000. I got $1,800 back, which is a good deal for me, and it's a good deal for the dealer that bought it. This card is not worth $2,000 in its current condition. It's ungraded, so we don't know how good it is. What this card is worth is only around $900. That's it. So I got $2,000 by getting the other card graded. I had two of them. And so I got one graded, came back at 6.5, made the value $2,000. This, in its current condition, is only worth $900. Now, I don't know what it'd be graded because I did not look at it through the loop. I only graded one. So I pulled one out, got it graded, came back at 6.5, and then I was able to unlock more value. Now, I don't know what this one will grade. Again, all the cards that I pulled out are all going to get graded at some point because these are my most valuable cards in my PC. I'm not going to grade my entire PC. That's completely ridiculous. There are many, many cards that don't need to be graded. But I'm going to get this one graded, and I don't know what it'll come back. Again, I don't really care because it is what it is. It's my PC. So I don't care what it comes back. I just want to know, okay, it is a 4 or it is a 5. I doubt it's going to be better than a 6.5. I honestly doubt that. But my point being is that when you get cards graded, that's when you start to know, okay, what is the real value? The problem is that in the modern era, if you get cards graded within the first 10 years, you're actually lowering the value of the cards because there's going to be too many 10s. There's going to be too many 9s. There's going to be too many 8s. There's too many of the higher end cards, which means it puts a lot of price pressure on the lower end cards. Let me just put it this way. If this was a modern card, okay, so here's the perfect example. If this was a modern card and everyone got it graded and all the 10s were around, then what do you think this card would be worth? So if the 10s are worth $2,000, okay, if the 10s are worth $2,000, what is this worth? It's not worth more than 40 or 50 bucks. And that's the problem. So like with the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, all of those 10s are worth around $2,000. Well, that means that the raw card can only be worth 50 or 60 bucks. That's it. That's all it can be worth. If someone were to get a 10 of this, it would be worth $1 million. So what would make the raw card worth? Then it would make the raw card worth $10,000 or $20,000 because the high end is pulling all the values up. And the reason is because there would only be 110. So here's the problem with the hobby. Again, you're grading too many modern cards. Therefore, you're putting price pressure on the ungraded stuff, which means it's never going to be worth anything in the future. And so for all of you investors, you're doing it wrong. Stop grading cards within the first 10 years that they come out. Just stop. If everybody put a moratorium, they just stop grading modern cards for the first 10 years, you'd actually see price values go up in the future, and then you'd have a same situation, not as good because, again, nobody graded these cards for 60 years. So I don't expect people to go 60 years without grading cards. Literally, I can't imagine that happening. But 10 years is a good time frame to hold off on your grading. That's just my advice. Now let's get to the third card.
All right, so the next card is going to be a 1955 Roberto Clemente. Let's get to it. Again, we've got to do sold listings. Here we go. All right, and again, ungraded. Let's see what we've got. So the first one is going to be a 1600 on May 15 and 800 on May 14. We're going to go down, keep looking, keep looking. As you can see, I hate eBay. May 12, 782. Look at all the listings that are not real. May 8, 600. 910 on May 2nd. Look at all of these cards that are not a 1955 tops. Like this is why eBay sucks. Literally, this is why eBay sucks. So I'm still looking. I'm still looking. Here we go. Yeah, 24.75 on April 24th. Still can't find any. Here we go. 660 on April 18. Look at all this junk. I mean, eBay is so bad. Like literally, this is the worst. 794 on April 11. Here we go. 1769 on April 7th. Is that the last one? Let's see. Nope, 877 on March 31.
Okay, so let's do a recap. We got 1600, 800, 782, 600, 900, 2475 on April 24. That one looked like a really nice card. 660, 794, and lastly on April 7th was 1769. So on the top end, this card, let me pull it out for you again. So on the top end, the Roberto Clemente rookie card is worth $2,400, and on the bottom end, it's worth $1,250. So if you have a raw card, okay, if you have an ungraded card of this, it's worth between $1,250 and $2,400 right now. That's as of mid-May. Okay, so I can't tell you what it's going to be worth 3 months from now, but I'm telling you what it's worth right now. Right now, it's worth between $1,250 and $2,400. If you get a card, if you see one for less than $1,000, you should buy it. And I saw a whole bunch of pricing. People bought cards for less than $1,000. That's good. You got a good deal. So that's the third card. Let's put it on the list. So we got a Koufax for $1,000. Christy Mathewson for $1,500. How much do I think this one is worth? I think it's worth $1,400. So again, the top line is 24. I think this one is worth 14. Again, you can see that I'm doing, condition here. I don't think this is not mint. So this is not worth 2,400. If it gets graded, to be honest, I think it's a little off center. So again, off center does affect. The corners are pretty good. One corner is kind of nicked. The back is amazing. Again, did not look under the loop, but just in general, I think this would come back again, probably a 5 or a 6. I didn't look at what those prices are, but honestly, based on the fact that it would come back a 5 or a 6, I think it's worth $1,400. Now, some people might value it more and be like, well, if it gets a 4 or, it gets a 5 or a 6, well, it'd be worth X amount and they'd want to pay whatever. But I think I can comfortably and confidently say that I could sell this for $1,400. Again, that's my point, is that you need to be able to price out your cards so you know what to charge. And then you also know whether or not you're getting a good deal on the back end, because if somebody gives you, let's say someone offers me $1,000 for this, now I have to make a choice. Well, it's worth $1,400. Would I take $1,000 for a card that's worth $1,400? And to be honest, I wouldn't. If it wasn't my PC, if I was selling it, I would say, well, no, I want to get closer to the $1,400. And so in case, so if somebody wanted to give me cash, $1,000 in cash, then I would ask, well, I need some other cards to make the deal more valuable for me. So basically, it's a $1,400 card. So, okay, I'll take the $1,000 worth of cash, but you need to put some other value in for me to make the deal. That's how I sold the Tom Seaver rookie. Again, it was worth $2,000. The dealer gave me X amount of cash and then added more cards to bring the total value of the deal up to $1,800, which I was comfortable with. And that's the point, is that you have to figure out what the price is and then what you're comfortable taking on the back end. All right, let's get to the fourth card.
All right, let's go back to eBay. Here we go. We've got 3 listings I can see right now for Joe Namath. We've got a 2,500 on May 11th, 22.99 on May 4th, and 22.04 on March 19. Let's see, do I have any more? No, looks like that's it. All right, so that's it. That's all we've got for Joe Namath.
It's amazing that not many of these cards are selling, but that's actually because it's graded. So I'm not sure, I didn't look at what the pop count for this card is in a 2.5, but that's the point, is that when you have these vintage cards and you get them graded, you now start to lower the pop count in terms of actual cards that are in that category. And that's why you know what the cards are actually worth. So we only have 3 examples here. So the first one is 2,500, the second one is 22.99, the third one is 22.04, which puts this card value, again, specifically the 2.5, at 2,700 and going up. That's it. That's what happens when you grade the card. Again, don't grade modern cards. Don't grade for the first 10 years. Allow the cards to circulate. Therefore, the value of the card starts to move. And then you only grade the most important cards. Instead of grading everything, which is what's happening right now, you're grading everything because you don't know which players are most important. But now, once you allow 10 years to go, you know which players should get graded. And then you get the real pop count. So this one is 2.5. It's worth 2,700 and going up. Again, so far, my most valuable card. And so let's put it on the list. We've got the Koufax, which is 1,000, the Mathewson, 1,500, the Clemente at 1,400, and that Joe Namath is now 2,700. So you can kind of see my PC is starting to be worth some money. It's worth more than 5,000. So we're getting there. But let's get to the next card.
Okay, last card, 1955 Willie Mays. Here we go, 1125 on May 18. Let's keep looking. 1762 on May 11. 525 on May 9. Look, I mean, it's ridiculous. 256 on May 6th. You can't find any cards. 305 on May 2nd. Let's see. Keep going. Here we go. 379 on April 20. Any more? 511 on April 16. 560 on April 16. Any more? There we go. 816 on April 6th. 270 on April 6th. 510 on April 4. No, I don't see any more. That's it. All right, so let's review the Willie Mays pricing. So you got 1125 on May 18, 1762, 525, 256, 305, 379, 511, 560, and 816. And so the value of the card is on the low end, it's 600, and on the high end, it's 1700. What I think that this card, so this is the Willie Mays, what I think mine is worth, I would say this is worth about $1,000. So there you go. That is my list of 5 right there. Okay, so Sandy Koufax 1,000, Christy Mathewson 1,500, Clemente 1,400, the Joe Namath 2,700. Yes, that's the most expensive one so far, and the Willie Mays is 1,000. Let's get into the question of the week, and then I'll get into what I think my PC is worth. All right, here you go. This week's question of the week is, what is your most valuable card and how much is it worth? Put your answer in the comments. I want to hear from you.
Okay, so the moment of truth, what is my PC worth? Now, as you can see, what I've done is I've actually put them into piles. I'm not gonna go through all the pricing with you because I've already done that in section 2. So in segment 3, this is just what it's worth. So here are all the piles. So I'm gonna just show you. So I put together, so these are all of my Ryan rookies. So I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is the 6th one. Okay, so I priced those out and I got a total for the Ryan rookies was $2,400. Okay, so that's the first pile. The second pile are these. So I said they're worth around $300 each. I'm going to show you them. So we've got a Carl Hubble, we got a Ricky Patch auto for Adam Fox. I've got this one is a Mel Ott, 1941 play ball. This one's a Mel Ott from 1931. And then we've got a Justin Jefferson, a Leaf College auto, rookie patch auto. Again, about $300 each. So those are, because I got 5, that's $1,500 right there. The last, this other pile are actually my higher end. So I priced them out individually. So let me show you what these are. So we've got the Gretzky rookie. Now that's a Topps, it's not an O-Pee-Chee. We've got a Frank Chance T206. Okay, we've got the iconic Larry Bird Magic Johnson rookie. I've got an auto of Mickey Mantle on a 63. We've got a patch, I think this is, no, it's 2019, but it's a patch for Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Again, this one's an auto. This is an auto rookie. This is for Jacob deGrom. That's a Top Supreme. That's number 220. Again, valuations are fluctuating on that card because people are not sure exactly what to do with deGrom. And then this one is from 1913. This is a T200 Fatima team card. This is with Christy Mathewson on it. So that lot is actually worth, all of those cards together is worth $5,100. Okay, so we got 3 piles so far. Here is the next pile. This one is worth a few $100 each. So I'm going to go through these. These are mostly my mantles. So here we go. You got one. You've got the Warren Spahn rookie. You've got the Tom Seaver rookie. You've got the Clemente, a 4.5. You got the Ryan, number 3. You got here another mantle, another mantle, another mantle. Like I said, I've got 12 or 13 mantles. So all of those are in here. Okay, we got the 60. We got a regular 63 that's not autoed. And then we've got these other ones. So we've got the Pee Wee Reese. This is my favorite card, all of my cards. We got the Jackie Robinson 56. We've got the Hank Aaron 55. You got the Williams 55. And then you've got the Jackie Robinson 55. One last one, you got the 59 Mickey Mantle. So that pile is worth $900. Okay, so we got 4 piles down. We got a couple more to go. I'm going to put these there. Hold on. We got one more. So you're actually going to see a bunch. So these are worth, again, just a couple hundred each. So those were worth a little bit more. Again, like between 300 to 500. This is going to be worth between 100 to 200. So we've got the Mickey Mantle. We've got a Japanese pack. So this is 1969 Japanese wax pack. We've got a Hank Aaron 56. We got a decal for Mantle. We've got a Mantle Sporting News. That's from 1961. We've got a Johnny Evers. This is a 1940 play ball. This one's a Jimmy Fox. Again, 40 play ball. We got a 61 Mantle. Next, 62 Mantle. I'm sorry. This is the 61 Mantle. Now you've got another decal. You got an autographed Ernie Banks. Again, I got that signed by myself at a show. I met Ernie Banks. And then this is the Eric Dickerson rookie cello pack. Again, in my collection. So that pile is worth $2,400. So if you're doing the math, let's see if you're doing the math. Now I got this other pile. So this one is worth around 150 or so. I separated them out because I was doing a lot of pricing. So again, around 150 bucks. So we've got Rod Carew, we've got a Steve Carlton, we've got Star Julius Erving, we got a 1979 wax pack, we've got the Mantle Blast, and then another decal for Mickey Mantle. And that pile is only worth around $800. So if we add all those piles up, the first pile, I misspoke, is $9,000 worth. So those are all of the 55s, the 56, and all the Mantles. So that's worth $9,000. The second pile is $2,400. If you're doing the math at home, $800, $2,400, $1,500, $5,100, and then the original cards, the 5 that we had. So if you remember, we got the Namath, we've got the Roberto Clemente rookie, we got the Christy Mathewson, we got the Willie Mays 55, and also the Koufax rookie. That is worth $7,600. Drum roll, please. That's right. The total value of my most expensive cards. Now, this is not my whole PC, but just the most expensive cards is $28,800. You can see it on the screen right there. So that's all of these cards. Again, the most valuable stuff. This is the stuff that I want to get graded. Again, as you saw, I have a whole bunch of things that I keep besides cards. You can also see stuff that's on the display unit. I haven't priced that stuff out at all. But that's the point, is if you want to know what your cards are worth, I hope that you watched this video. I hope that you got a lot of value out of it. If you did, please hit the like button and let me know that you like this type of content. We're going to get to the next segment right now, which is your viewer comments. Don't forget to put down your comments in the show. Here we go. All right, it's time for my favorite part of the show. But before we get there, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I actually post polls on my community tabs. And so I wanted to show you this page just in case people don't know. You can go to the community tab and actually vote on any one of these polls. So the one that we have right now is how many cases of cards do you own? Again, it's 1 case, 2 case, 3 cases. I think that the question is confusing. And so here's the question. The question is, how many cases of cards do you own? And I think what people thought I meant was actually full cases of packaged wax. And what I actually meant was actually like cases like these. So this is what I meant, is how many cases of cards do you own? So I want to ask you, how should I write that question so that people understand that I mean these card cases, and maybe that would make it easier to understand. How many card cases do you own of cards? But let's get to the first comment. Okay, the first comment comes from Tom Bullard, 6167, and here's what he has to say. So this was on actually the comment on the question on the poll, and this is the reason why I thought people got confused, because he wrote MTG, so that's Magic the Gathering sealed is my extent, so with it added all together, maybe a couple cases total with booster boxes, Secret Lair, Commander decks, although I can play with them when open by doing drafts and all types of other formats. That's why I bought what I did. I look forward to busting it open to booster draft and chaos draft in another 5 to 10 years. So I do appreciate the answer, and I think that the question is valuable in addition to the question that I was actually trying to ask, which is how many actual card cases, because I was trying to figure out how much people actually put into cases. Like, how many cards do you think are valuable enough, instead of putting them in shoe boxes or, just in your closet in binders, how many card cases do you own? So that was really the question that I was trying to get, is how many card cases. But I appreciate it, Tom. The great comment. Let's get to the next one. This is from Lebowski Sports Cards. You have commented before, so let's see what you say today. I have a bunch of early 90s Michael Jordan singles from when I was a young kid, looking to acquire higher end cards of his, but we'll wait and see if this recession that everyone is talking about happens. In 2009, in the aftermath of the Great Recession mortgage crisis, sadly, sports cards were the last thing on my mind. Wish I would have stocked up, though, on Matthew Stafford rookies. All right. Well, Lebowski, I appreciate the comment. The recession is already happening right now. Again, there's a lot of issues with the hobby. I've already talked about in this episode the problem with grading modern cards. You're basically saying that in the future, you don't want cards to be worth more. That's it. If everybody grades modern cards, all of those modern cards are not going to be worth very much in the future. You're basically putting a ceiling on the hobby, and that's the way it goes. The only cards that are going to be worth more in the future are all vintage. Anything that's not modern, because there's too many modern graded cards. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a huge problem going forward, and you're probably going to lose a ton of money. And so if you're saving cards, you're going to have to save cards for the next, basically, midlife crisis. I don't know if people understand that. The only reason that the hobby boomed at the end of the 80s and early 90s is because the baby boomers, the largest population in the United States, were going through a midlife crisis. That's old men in their 40s and 50s going through a midlife crisis. Their kids were 8, 9, 10 years old at the time. And so they were like, I want to relive my youth. What was going on is millennials, the largest population in the United States, going through this nostalgic period. They don't really have a midlife crisis because they're always in a midlife crisis. Millennials are just so narcissistic. Like, they're the most selfish people I've ever met. Again, I know a lot of millennials, and all of you are going to get mad at what I'm saying because you're so selfish that you refuse to admit that you don't care about anyone else but yourself. And that's only because your parents told you you're the most special person in the entire world. That's not true. You're not special. You're unique. And that's the difference. You're unique. Every single person is a unique individual, but you're not special unless you do something special. And unfortunately, most millennials have done nothing with their lives. Sorry, but here we go. We're going to stick to sports and sports cards. All right, next comment. Let's go to Jason B. This is, hi, hello, Doc. I store my cards in binders. I only collect ungraded cards. Okay, I think that's awesome. Again, majority of my PC is ungraded cards. Majority. And you just saw all the cards that I plan on getting graded. It's not that many. It's like 50 or 60 cards. I'm going to have around 500 or 600 cards. So it's 10% of my whole collection will be graded. That's it. So you guys can do whatever you want to do, but just be aware that only 10% of my collection will be graded. Not 50%, not 60%, 10%. And so I would hope that you guys don't waste money on grading. Again, it is a waste of money to grade cards that are not worth much. It's a waste of money. Now, if you're going to buy slabs cheaply, like if you're going to buy slabs for $5 or less, absolutely buy as many slabs as you want because you're not paying for anything. You're just paying for the slab. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, everybody else lost money on those cards and you're just swooping in and taking advantage of that. I don't see any problem with that. So if you're a modern day collector, like if you just got into the hobby and you're looking to buy, graded cards, my suggestion would be to go to your local card shop, go to a Burbank Sports Cards, go to a Cards HQ and buy the cheapest slabs. Literally, buy slabs for under $10 and you are already making money because it costs more to grade than $10. So you're actually saving money, and it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter what the grade is because the grading costs more than $10. So if you can buy a PSA 6 for $10, good. If you can buy a PSA 4 for $5, even better. Even better. And here's the piece. I hope that all of these stores start buying all the junk. Buy it. Yes, buy it for $1 and sell it for $5. Buy it for $1 and sell it for $5. But all of you that have slabs that are below a PSA 5 or a SGC 4, you better start selling your slabs now if you're not collecting them. Just sell them, get rid of them. You're a hoarder at this point. Literally, you're a hoarder. Now, again, I have slabs that are cards are vintage. They're much less than a 5, again, but they're my PC. I'm not looking to sell them. I'm collecting them. That's the point. All right, let's get to the next comment. This one is a long one. So this one is from Bringing the Heat. So here we go. I own 1,600 cards and I am recession proof. Well, I'm glad that phrase is now starting to go viral. All right. I'm also Elmer J. Fudd multimillionaire. I guess he's making fun. I own a mansion and a yacht. I guess he's making fun of Ken Golden. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I'm an old timer like Bargain Boxer. I'm not sure why you'd want to be in the same category as Bargain Boxer, but okay. And I'll come on any time to try and talk some sense to the young kids. Okay, it's an interesting way of putting it. I just want you to give some experience. Just tell us about your experience. There's nothing you need to teach anyone, because unless you're a teacher, unless you're a retired teacher, you probably don't know how to teach people. So why don't you get off your high horse and let's just see what you have to say. All right, so this is what he's going to say. The fact is, though, they won't and don't listen. Well, you don't listen, so why are you getting mad at other people? Here we go. What I buy isn't sexy for everyone. Not one Kaboom, Downtown, or any card with 15 stupid names, some advertising morons made up with contrived scarcity, not one fake patch or fake relic, unfortunately not one PSA 10 in a legacy collection. So it's really like beating a dead horse. They would rather get their advice from a grifter, know nothing like Jeff Wilson, Goof Wilson, he said. I'm trying to read this. I'm trying to read this with a grain of salt. I already know that Bringing the Heat has lost his mind. I'm just telling you right now. I already know he's lost his mind. I'm trying to get through this. Here we go. Oh boy. All right. They would rather get their advice from a grifter, know nothing like Goof Wilson, and lose their ass. All right. Rather than an old boomer, or 63 like Mike Petty, a guy who is not smart, but yet has never lost money on a stupid baseball card or stupid collector cards or stupid gold or stupid cash or the stupid stock market. This is what happens when you let senior citizens on YouTube. This is the price you pay when you have regular normal people and then you have these boomers, these senior citizens who just have nothing else to do but just complain all day. I'm going to say, look, Bringing the Heat, I love you. I love you. I thank you for watching. I'm glad that I'm the only thing that you have to do all day, that you watch my show every single week just to see what you can say about me, about other people. I mean, it's fun for you. It's fun for you to make fun of other people. I get it. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Literally, you have the right to do it. And I hope that you keep making comments. And as you can see, I'm pulling out the comment. I haven't read it before I brought it on. I had no idea. I thought you were going to give us, I previewed the beginning and I thought you were going to give us some advice. Unfortunately, so far we haven't gotten any advice. You're just yelling at people. Again, everybody's stupid. I get it. I love the word stupid. I use it way too much. But I actually only call stupid people stupid. That's all that I do. Like, there are legit stupid people in the world, and I only call them stupid. I don't call people in general stupid. But having said that, I'm waiting, I'm hoping, I'm praying that there's something of value in this comment. So hopefully I haven't lost all of my viewers. Oh my God, this is a rant. All right, fact is, I only have the money to spend on pretty much any card. What? Fact is, I only have the money to spend on pretty much any card I want for one reason and one reason only. And what is that reason? I actually listened to people who knew more than me the second half of my life. Imagine that. That's the secret sauce. You actually do know more than know more than dim. I don't know what that says. More than dim? Oh, I see. All right. You actually know more than dim nitwits on YouTube, and I always have enjoyed your videos every Friday. Well, we saved the comment. I appreciate. I did not know we were going there. Man, bringing the heat. Let me just put this way. Oh my God. Oh my God. So folks, I was a reporter for many years. Okay, so I wrote for a newspaper. I was a reporter on TV and radio. And my editors always said the same thing. This was every single time I turned in a story, because you have to turn your stories in before they get approved to actually like go out. Like if you're writing for a newspaper, you give your copy to the editor and they tell you what works, what doesn't work, and what you need to change. And every time I wrote a story, the first draft of any story, I always did this. My editors would yell from the office, "Schwartzy, you buried the lead." Bringing the heat. That's what you did. You buried the lead. The lead should have been the last paragraph of that statement. And then you could have gone into that diatribe of, I don't know, you're just yelling at people for no reason. I don't even know why you're mad. I don't get it. So here's my take on this, and here's my question to Bringing the Heat. All right. If you don't think people are smart in the hobby, and I'm not here to tell you that you're wrong, what I want to know is, why don't you think people are smart in the hobby? Why don't you think people know that Jeff Wilson, as a person who talks about cards, forget about Cards HQ because that's a business venture, but just cards in general, why don't you think people know that Jeff Wilson doesn't know anything about cards? And I'm going to also tie in as well, not going to make any friends on this video, but here we go. I'm going to tell the truth. Why don't you think people in the hobby know that Ty Wilson from the Chasing Cardboard team also doesn't know anything about cards? Why is that not a known thing in the hobby? Now, I'm not talking about Mike, and I'm not talking about Marcel, and I'm not talking about all the other people. I'm talking about Ty himself doesn't seem to know anything about cards. I'm wondering why those two people seem to have overcome the sense of they don't know what they're talking about, and people do listen to them. Bringing the Heat, why do you think that is? It's not because people are stupid. Honestly, I need you to kind of think about it. It's not because they're dumb. There's something about what they're saying that convinces people or fools people into thinking that they know what they're talking about. I do this show every single week. I put out more than 200 videos about cards, about values, about the hobby. And every single week I have to be consistent in what I'm saying, because consistency means trust. That's why I have 2,000 subscribers, because they trust what I'm saying. Now, I don't have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 subscribers. Now, does that mean that's because what I'm saying isn't good or isn't valuable? No, it means that anybody that's watching this show doesn't share it with anyone else. So that's on you, Bringing the Heat. Why don't you share it? If you think that what I'm saying is valuable, I know I'm not the only person you talk about with cards. So why aren't you telling people, hey, this show talks about the truth. And if you guys put down in the comments the questions or the topics you want me to cover, I will cover them for you. I will do the research and I will give you the facts so that you actually get videos and content that you want, not what we get, which is the influencer nonsense, which is fooling people who are getting into this hobby. Again, I don't have videos that get 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 views. So therefore, people are not seeing my content. So they can't know, oh, there's something else out there. When I met Mojo Sports, who is a small influencer compared to those two people, compared to Chasing Cardboard and Jeff Wilson, Mojo Sports is a small influencer. He has about 70,000 followers, okay? So that dwarfs my following. But my point is, he didn't know I existed. When I talked to him and I gave him my channel, he's like, I'm always looking for new channels. That's what he wants. He wants to learn. He's a young kid. He wants to learn. So again, Bringing the Heat, you're wrong. The young kids are not dumb. They're not stupid. They're being influenced by grifters and people who don't know anything about cards, because that's the content that's being pushed out. Because real collectors, and that's my audience, real collectors are not sharing my videos. So if you agree that I'm telling the truth, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. You don't have to say like, oh, he's right. No, that's not the point. If you think that what I'm doing is valuable, if you think what I'm doing is true and fair and factual, again, you don't have to agree with me, but if you think it's factual, why aren't you sharing it? Why aren't you posting on Facebook and Reddit and Instagram and also on X and telling people, hey, you should watch this show? That's the only comment I can make off of what you said, Bringing Heat. I want to say thank you for the comment, because I did not know it was going in that direction. But here we go. All right, next one. All right, this is Cute E Degen KF. All right, you know it. All right, NFTs, bro. Your time is money. No need to ship. You are pretty much in the 20th century still. It's 2025 NFTs. All right, that is a good comment after we just had Bringing the Heat, because Cute E Degen is stupid. There we go. So Bringing the Heat, there you go. Here's a stupid person. NFTs, for anyone that doesn't know what the hell an NFT is, it's basically called a non-fungible token. Okay, that's what it means. And NFTs are worthless. Why? Because they're not real. End of story. Now, if you're a young bro, like he is, you're an idiot. If you put any money into this, you're going to lose all of your money in the future. It's not going to be worth anything unless you want to run a Ponzi scheme and sell it. So if you have any NFTs right now, QT, you should sell them to some sucker who's going to overpay for them, because money is worth more than NFTs. NFTs are not even a collectible. Anyone that buys an NFT is an idiot. Just telling you, you should buy Bitcoin before you should buy NFTs. Just telling you. And Bitcoin is on the verge of going bankrupt. On the verge. I don't know, because we don't know what the government's going to do. Now, if the government makes Bitcoin an actual real currency, then yes, it will survive. But right now, it's not a real currency. You're only delusional if you think that. It's not backed by anything, and it has no use. That's all that you need to understand. Money, like paper money, only has the faith, the good faith of the US government. So unless someone's going to back Bitcoin, what's the faith behind Bitcoin? There is no faith. It's worthless. That's the problem. The dollar used to be backed by gold, which has physical value. Gold will always have physical value, and baseball cards and collectibles will always have value. How much value? That's what the market is. The market determines how much value, but they will never go to zero. Now, there will be stuff that you can't sell. You have to give it away, but it's worth at least a cent, at least 5 cents or whatever the lowest currency is. The problem isn't that it's not worth anything. The problem is you can't sell it. And Bitcoin has two problems. One, what if no one wants to buy Bitcoin in the future? And then how much is it actually worth? But if nobody wants to buy Bitcoin, it's worthless. It is zero because nobody would even want it. You can give cards away because people will take free cards. That's why there's always value to a collectible. You can give away baseball cards because someone will take free cards, but you can't give away Bitcoin if it's not valuable. No one wants, why would anyone want a digital coin? It just makes no sense. So QT, you're an idiot. As Bringing the Heat said, you're stupid. And it's the 21st century. You're using ridiculous logic. I know more about the 21st century than you do, but that's not what this channel's all about. Again, no NFTs, people. Please do not buy NFTs. Do not buy NFTs. Do not. All right, next one. Joseph J. Walter. Hey, Doc. Second time, long time. Well, it's good to see you back. Thanks for clarifying what recession-proof is. No problem. I am 100% collector. Well, that's good. So I am looking for long-term enjoyment instead of selling. You and me both. Exactly. I am in the process of moving from boxes to binders for my cards so they can be enjoyed. Well, absolutely. I think they actually have binders now, or they have sleeves where you can put them into top loaders and then put them in the sleeves. That would be my recommendation, because again, the problem with binders is they bend the cards. It's the only problem with binders. It's just the way it is because the way the pages go in. So just be careful of that. All right. Anyway, like you, I have piles of cards. Of course you do. I am collating and I have 2 cases for my rookie cards, Hall of Famer cards and autograph cards. Are you going to bring back the one show intro? I did enjoy that. Keep up the good work. Well, Walter, I was not planning on bringing back the one show intro. I had fun. I don't know if you saw the entire music video for that intro. I did a whole 2-minute music video. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go and search my content. Go back to the videos and search for it. I think it's called the official intro. I think that's what you can find it as. It's a 2-minute music video. I had a ton of fun making it, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Again, I don't have that big an audience, so I don't think anybody other than you really liked it. But if everybody out there, if you like the one show intro, put it down in the comments and let me know. Hit the like button as well, because that will let me know that you actually liked it. So either make a comment or hit the like button on this video if you want the one show intro back in a future episode, and I'll do that just for you. All right, that was it for this week. I want to thank everybody. We had some doozies. Oh my God, Bringing the Heat. You know what? You have to take the comments. I clipped them. I don't necessarily know what you guys are going to say before I read them clearly. I didn't preview that one at all. I did not know where Bringing the Heat was coming from, But again, I want to thank all of my subscribers and all my viewers every single week. If you are not subscribed, do it right now. Hit the like button to let the YouTube algorithm know that you actually want this to be pushed. If you are not sharing it, you have to hit the like button because that's the only way YouTube will share it. So anyway, I don't know exactly what I'm going to cover next week, but that means you got to stay tuned to next Friday to find out what I talk about. Anyway, this is Doc saying, have a great week.